We've all seen the headlines, all the Fortune 500 companies killing it, all the benefits that derive from it. When companies have women in charge, they are outperforming their competitors. So, do women make better leaders?
Just lead.
I have approached the topic of inclusion and diversity and women in leadership on this channel many times before. It's a fascinating subject. We are part of a changing world that is moving forward, and for some of us, the white men, who used to stand at the front of that progress, we need to get a wriggle on to make sure that we keep up and understand what's going on so that we aren't left behind. Women are better leaders. Let's look at some statistics. The return on investment for high growth companies is 10.1% when a woman is in charge, but only 7.4% when there's a man in charge. Companies that have 30% or more senior executives that are women are more likely to outperform their competitors. And when a company employs equal numbers of men and women, they produce 41% more revenue. What is it about women that makes them such good leaders? Stereotypes are not a good way to judge a person, nor are they a good foundation to building a team or an executive panel. But for our benefit, stereotypes are a really good place to start. The view on competency in leadership has traditionally been owned by men. However, over recent years, there's been a shift in perspective to where women are now viewed as more competent as leaders. But what is actually shifting that view on competency? More stereotypes. Traditionally, leadership has been viewed as being needed to be done by someone that is strong-willed, that can make the tough calls, that know everything about the business and are very decisive and direct in their approach to leadership. But over recent time, this view on leadership has been shifting. People want their leaders to be more empathetic. They want intelligence, they want creativity, they want relatedness, and they want connectedness from their leaders. In this shift in perspective on leadership, people now view women as being more competent for a variety of leadership roles. But hang on. Why? Because more stereotypes. Women are seen as more caring, more nurturing, more inclusive, more open, and more creative. These are all characteristics that align more clearly with what people want to see in their leaders in this day and age. So women make better leaders because stereotypes. We've touched briefly on what makes a good leader in this day and age. Long gone are the days of the drill sergeant in favour for a more transformational style of leadership. Some research conducted by the people of Leadership Circle Profiles has shown that women score more highly in some of the categories that are associated with transformational leadership. Women score significantly higher in their ability to relate and connect with others. Women have a higher authenticity score. Women are more likely to play to win, which means that they're going to have a more collaborative style of leadership. Men, however, are equally likely to play to lose, which means for them a lose-lose scenario is not out of the question. And women are more likely to focus on developing and mentoring others in their teams. This is that part of the video where you like and subscribe because you've liked what I've been doing and you want to see more. Well, there's enough of that. Let's get back to regular programming. Let's move on to science rather than just dealing with stereotypes and perceptions. Some research has been done into how men and women deal with stress. Both men and women, when they're in high stress situations, release a chemical called cortisol. And cortisol is responsible for that fight or flight response that people have when they're in high stress situations. However, this is where we diverge as men and women. Men will jump to a flight or fight response when the cortisol is released into their system. What this means is that they can really make some quite practical and quick decisions when they need to in a high stress situation. But they're just as likely to make poor, rash decisions that can be quite costly to the company. They are more likely to make high-risk decisions in these scenarios. When women have cortisol released into their system, their bodies actually counteract that with a release of a chemical called oxytocin. And that has a bit of a de-stressifying effect on the human anatomy. What this means is in high stress situations, women are more likely to have a cool head and make more logical decisions because of that. This phenomenon helps to explain why women have such success when they're put in positions of power when an organisation is in crisis. This is called the glass cliff effect, something that I cover in a short on this channel, but also something that I touch on when reviewing Julia Gillard and Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala's book, Women and Leadership. I've gone through all of this to make a point, I promise you. The point is, women are better leaders when you take into account stereotypes, perspective on leadership, and biology. However, as I've discussed time and time again on this channel, there is more than one way to be a good leader, and there's always opportunities to improve in places where we are not good. Another point that needs to be made incredibly clear is that all organisations and businesses benefit from diversity. Diversity means that women shouldn't be the only ones at the leadership table, and likewise, as has been the case in the past, it shouldn't just be men. Diversity means we have many different leadership styles at the table, which means that we're going to be able to effectively solve the challenges and problems that come to us when they arise. And do all women share the same attributes? No, of course not. I've worked with plenty of women leaders that are absolutely horrible at their job. But on the other coin, I've worked with plenty more that have been absolutely incredible leaders. Likewise with men. Just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you're gonna make a good leader. It still requires work, effort, and dedication to the craft. We all must work at leadership. Men have gaps in their leadership styles that can be covered off by seeing and observing how women lead, and vice versa. The importance of diversity in your team cannot be understated, and you can see what I mean by clicking this link right here.